Have you ever wondered why you're still exhausted no matter how many tips or tricks you try? If I could go back and give myself as a brand new mom advice, this is what I would say. Because it would have saved me so much time and stress. You see, I've tried it all. I tried the planners, the routines, getting up early in the morning, working out, healthy meals, self care checklists. And what I found is that nothing stuck. I would stick with it for a little bit and then fall off the trail. And instead of making me feel better, what I would actually do is I would feel worse because there's another thing I failed at. And I never really understood why until I started to work on my mindset and my internal world, my emotions, my feelings. And then I realized it was because I tried to fix the inside by putting outside systems on it. And as long as I was unstable in the inside, it just did not work. So, I'm going to share with you what I've learned and what changed everything for me, and that I teach now other moms as a mindset coach. The first thing that I want to share with you today comes down to this question: who do you spend the most time with? And maybe the answer is your kids, your husband, your family in general, or maybe even as a working mom, you say, oh, actually, it's my coworkers because I spend all day at work, and after that, it's my family. But the truth is, none of this is true because the person you spend the most time with is yourself. Is yourself. Because the truth is, most of us, we live up in our heads and we let our mind run the show by just running with the thoughts that come up. And we never question them because we just think, oh, our mind is guiding us here. And you see, what we often overlook is that we ourselves are our biggest critique. And that is why we feel bad. It's not about other people putting expectation on us or telling us things about us. It's ourselves. Because we put way too many expectations and um we say bad things about ourselves. That's really what it is. So as long as we don't flip it and start to pay attention to what's going on inside and actually start to feed it with positive things, which starts with positive things about yourself. Because here's the truth: if your friend would come to you and she would say, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted, I'm so overstimulated, I cannot keep up with everything, it's like I feel like I'm losing it. What would you say to that friend? Would you say, oh, come on, not again? Like, just get it together. Like, it's not that hard. Or would you show compassion? Would you say, like, hey, I get it. Like, I'm here for you. I'm with you. Like, we're struggling here together. So let's just do it. I'm pretty sure it would be the second, right? You would encourage, you would show compassion, you would be like, hey, I can actually relate. And then you would say, like, okay, how can we, what do you need right now? How can I help you? So you would support. And so, what would happen if you would start doing the same thing for you? And while it sounds easy, since these patterns of the way we think and the way we act are so deeply inside of us because they've just been created and habitualized through daily actions over and over, that it can be hard to break it. And that is exactly what I'm using my 3-day challenge for, is to create new patterns so that we can start to feed our mind with things that actually feel good, and so that we can actually show up feeling good about ourselves. Because the truth is, as soon as we feel good about ourselves, we can actually show the same energy to our family and to our kids, to the people in general around us, and it will reflect. And that is why it's so important to start with ourselves, because you're really the person you spend out the most with. And at the same time, most of us, we don't take care of ourselves. That's both mentally as well as physically. At the end, the way you speak to yourself matters more than anything else. I mean, if we think about it, we are so careful with how we talk to our children. We want to encourage them. We want to make sure that they take risks, but not too many risks. We want them to be outgoing and at the same time respectful. We want them to feel supported. We want them to feel safe so they can explore and be themselves. So we're so careful with what we say to our kids and how we can do this. But when it comes to ourselves, we don't bat an eye and we just run with whatever comes up in our heads. So, what would happen if you would say stop? Literally stop, because we need to start interrupting these patterns and we need to hold off on these thoughts and really interrupt them. And instead, we would say, like, you know what, you got this, you did your best. It's like one thing that I'm really trying to drill into my son right now. He's 5 years old, almost six. And he's very hard on himself. He wants to do always a perfect job. So I've been trying to talk to him about the idea that it's about doing your best, and your best may not always be perfect. Your best may not always mean you win. Your best may not always mean that you can do it all. But as long as he's doing his best, that's all I can ask from him. So, and the same thing is happening for ourselves. We can only try our best. That's all we can do. And so when we start to interrupt our thoughts and replace it with a positive thought like this, I promise you, your day will look completely different, because it's these little tiny shifts that we can do throughout our day which actually can completely change our day. But here's the thing, doing it once is not going to make the difference. If you say, oh my gosh, Linda, thank you so much for sharing this with me, this completely lands. And if so, leave me a comment below so I know that this is actually valuable for you. So if you say, oh my gosh, this is so good, and you go about your day, and sometime during the day today, you notice a thought that is not positive, that is not good for you, and you say, you know what, stop, I'm doing my best here. And you say, oh my gosh, Linda, thank you so much. This is so great, because you immediately feel the shift. The thing is, it's great in that moment. What we want though is that you have continuous moments like this, that you feel good in general. And the way we can achieve this is by rewiring the brain. So we actually don't have to actively think about it and be aware of it, but it automatically gives us supporting thoughts. And for that, it is important that we rewire our brain by creating safe practices that we do repeatedly. And that is also why it's so important to have a guide, someone that one can point out these patterns and be like, hey, this is the show that you've been running. And that is exactly the reason why you're feeling so bad. It's not about your husband, it's not about your job, it's not about anything outside of you, it's actually all within you. And so when we have this guide and someone that can be like, hey, this is what we need to address, paired with practices that you can implement, and you have someone that is with you, that supports you, so you continuously show up and put in the repetitions, right? It's like showing up to the gym. If we go to the gym once, it's not going to make a big difference. But it's because we show up daily or multiple times a week, and that's where we get the momentum. That's where we start to see the change. And that is exactly why it's so important to have a guide, a mentor, a coach, someone that can point out what's going on and give you the right tools and help you to practice them continuously. So you can build on these little steps so you can actually see lasting change. And that is exactly what I'm focused on in my program, because I teach in my Time to Thrive 3-month program exactly steps on how you can rewire your brain so that you can actually start thinking in a supportive way and feel good about yourself so your day completely changes. And then we're pairing this with a powerful practice to let go of the past. Because one thing that most of us have is like these huge buckets of blame, of shame, of fear, of overwhelm, and it's just overflowing. So anytime something happens, it just bursts out. So what we want to do is we want to empty that cup. We want to pretty much put a reset on everything and say like, you know what? Let's start fresh. And that is exactly what we do in my program. We hit the reset button because once we do this, these new practices are so much more impactful and effective because I truly believe we are not here on this planet to be miserable. I believe we're here to enjoy it. And I don't talk about like just people that have lots of money, that seem to have life figured out, and they just can travel around the world. No, I'm here to challenge it. What if we could enjoy every day? What if we could enjoy and be present in the little moments? So that when we are there with our kids, we have fun, we enjoy it, we laugh, and at the end of the day we say, you know what, I love my little family, I love my little world, I'm just so happy with what I have. And so if that sounds like something that you need and you're like, yes, Linda, I want someone that helps me, support me, so I'm guided and supported, and I have someone I can easily reach out to and be like, hey, I'm running this again, this is happening, help me out here, then message me with the link below so we can get you started on this journey, because there's so much more waiting for you, and now is the time.